we'll be talking about value added, and these are products from your farm. And so we'll get started. So what we're going to talk about today is basically how to get started with value-added products. I will share a little bit about myself later on when we start going through those particular slides about individual farmers in our region that are actually doing this. But I want to share with you just briefly, how do you come about creating a value-added product? That's basically what we're going to talk about today, but it's really focusing on you understanding how to expand a value-added product you have, also learning how to pivot into a new type of operation on your farm. So for an example, of course, if you're growing herbs, how to take that raw product and turn it into something else that's viable and can add in other customer source for you. So let's get started. Identifying a product, you got to really understand you have to take that raw product and make it into something else. That is the pinnacle definition of a value-added product. And then what does that raw product need to become? And you as the business owner and farmer will make that decision, and also thinking about your clientele. Who in your community or the community you serve, even if it's not right near your home and your farm, what do they need? What do they value? That will determine what that raw product will become. What does the raw product need to become to be sellable? So again, if we're talking, for an example, herbs, if your community don't necessarily do medicinal products, then you will be turning that herbal product into something else, and it may be skin product, but utilizing herbs. So those types of things you will have to identify with your customer base. Example, we know about tomatoes into salsa or spaghetti sauce. Most of us visit farmers markets, and we know that we have many, many people that do jellies and jams, and that's coming from their fruit on their land. And so these are just a few examples, and it's many, many more, because it's basically where your heart is content. It's no set rule of what type of product you could create. It's just based upon the raw product that you're producing and on your farm, and then how can I create it into a value-added product. So some of the motives for a new product will be financial growth, sales growth, competition, of course, advances in technology, new invention, new regulations, material cost changes, and then the demographic or lifestyle changes. And again, this is just a few of the motives. You may be able to come up with many, many more, but this is just a few that usually define why we want to create a new product. So a concept of the product, of course, you have to define your product. Why should somebody need your product? Again, these are answers that you as the business owner and farmer can only answer. Who will buy this product? Where will you market this product? What is it? What is in it? So again, you have to define if you want to go totally natural, or will you be adding in other type of product materials and recipes that make sure that it has a longevity to it, a long shelf life. So again, you have to make that determination based upon your clientele and based upon really your core values of your farm and your business. And then what is the identity of your product? So again, just a few of those particular concepts for a new product. So product category. What category do you want to sell your product in? Again, I've been using the herb example. So again, will it be medicinal? Will it be culinary, industrial? So it's many, many, many product categories that you could fall into, but again, you will determine that. Refrigerated or shelf staple, acid, acidified or low acid, high moisture or dry, organic or not, or natural or not. And again, that will be determined by you and your community. Ingredients and the functionality. So again, you always want to list out all the ingredients used in making your product. And again, we're speaking about the back portion of creating this product. So this, what I'm speaking of now, is for your records. You want to make sure that you know all of your ingredients. Initially, try to make the best product you can. To definitely want to document everything. Ingredients. So you want to document your form, your source, manufacturing info, your quantities, your percentages. Everything needs to be documented. That is so very important, because it will come a time you will have to tweak your recipe for whatever reason. It could be the market may change for the price point of some of your ingredients. And so it's very key that you document all of this the first time, and then as you have to change and revise your recipe over the years, you have every single revision. You will have it. And I promise you, it's so very important to do this. So sequence of the use of your ingredients, and that's included pre-processing. So whatever you have to do for its pre-processing, that needs to be documented as well, for is now moving into the production of that product. And of course, your process. We know that that is so important to document the processes, your steps, and then how long it took you to do these particular steps. Then your kitchen recipe. And of course, I know I'm basically dealing with products, value-added products from raw fruits, vegetables, different things like that. But I know that as many of you have different things on your land that you could create not non-food products. So please don't disregard what I'm saying. I'm also keeping you in mind. But again, majority of us are utilizing things that we grow and raise, and then we create a value-added product out of that. But I'm not discounting, we have tree farmers. And so if you have cedar trees on your land and you're creating picnic tables and seating, that is a value-added product. So I'm not discounting any of our farmers and producers that will be watching this that don't have a food product. Value-added product can be utilized with anything on our land, anything that we're producing on our land. So we don't want to discredit any other producer, but I'm just focusing on the farmers that utilize the food products from their land. So the kitchen recipe, make the product a few times in your kitchen, and of course record everything. Keep a close eye on the variability of the raw materials. This is just so very critical. Then your ingredients. Of course, they are an essential component of any product. Your ingredients serve two major purposes. Of course, the functionality in the food system, and always we want to think about the nutritional value. And then, of course, again, keeping a close eye on the variability of the raw materials. Now, why this is critical is your vendor source. That's why that is being repeated. So for an example, you may say vendor A sends you some of your part of your recipe, some of your ingredients, and your product comes out just extraordinary and you get feedback from your customers. And then say that vendor A goes out of business. Now you have to get that product from vendor B, but it may not be as high quality as vendor A. Your product will have some differences, and you will definitely get feedback from your customers. So that's what it means by that variability. When you are dealing and sourcing your raw materials, it's so very important that you always continue to do just product deviations and taste testing, and we're going to talk about that. You always keep redoing your product and testing it out for yourself when you make any change in your product. So again, our ingredients, you want to have your types, that's including detailed info of your source. Again, that's because your source may change and you want to have that documented. Components, your quantities for as batch is concerned, how much is that batch making? And again, that comes down to your price point, how much you can charge when you know how much that batch made. The nutritional information, the functionality, your quality, and then the pre-processing information. Your spec sheet is so very important because you may get asked this when USDA or your Department of Health, when you're moving into that realm for as your product is concerned. You have to have these spec sheets of what you have created. And so it's very, very important to keep documentation. We always talk about record keeping, and it's very important regardless of what product we are putting out into the community. So your pre-processing details, of course, your cleaning, sorting, size reduction, and pre-cooking, your time of treatment, your size of your utensils and cooking pots that are used. And then always keep very good records, because all of that I just named could change. For an example, if you get invited, because we have some powerhouse farmers and you may get invited to do a showcase for one of your products. So that means you're not in your kitchen anymore. You're using someone else's utensils, cooking pots, and that's going to be a learning curve for you. But just all of that can change your recipe so easy, just because heat, cooking utensils, the pot itself. So just keep that in mind, that this is just so very important. And I hope all of you be able to create products that you get invited to showcase and stuff. But it's definitely important to remember that all of this can really change your product. So keeping an eye on that is very important. So your processing, the size of your cookware that's used, your process parameters, so like your temperature, your time, mixing, your pH, and your water activity if that's being utilized. The quality of the finished product before packing. And I'm going to say that again now, the quality of the finished product before you pack it. And again, that's dealing with your pH, your water activity, your texture, and your taste. And again, quality after estimated shelf life period. So again, quality assurance, we have to do that as well. Your taste test, the sensory evaluation, evaluate the final product for its sensory attributes. Develop an identity for the product, and then make sure to evaluate this every time you make the product, reevaluate that consistency. So we always want to make sure that we are testing our product, smelling our product, touching the texture. Everything means something to your customer. And so when you leave out those sensories and you say, oh, I want, if it's jelly and jam, oh, I just want to taste it. You will have a customer that the first thing they do is when they pop the top is smell it. And so we want to make sure we're using all of our senses, because that you have to evaluate your product. Every single thing you have to evaluate. We just can't boil it down to just one evaluation, because we're producing a product to the public. And as we know, everybody does not like the same things we like or view things the same way we do. So we want to make sure we're using all of our faculties to evaluate our product. Now, again, I know that this is going to go out to many, many people. And I live in Mississippi. Our regional office is here. And so I specifically dealt with the Mississippi Cottage Food Law, but I definitely will ask you to do your own research on the Cottage Food Law in your particular state. And I hope that you have one. It has really helped our farmers here with their products once they learned about this particular law. So the cottage food products are specific types of food that you make in the kitchen of your private home, and they must be non-potentially hazard. They do not require time or temperature control for safety, and they can be kept at room temperature, so they don't always require refrigeration, even after opening, and have not been found by FDA to support the growth of pathogens. So you are limited, and again, this is Mississippi now, you are limited in the amount of sales you could have selling the cottage foods, which is $20,000 in gross annual sales. So the following list the following is a list of foods approved for sale by the Cottage Food Law. So we have baked goods, but as you can see here, baked goods without cream, custard, or meat fillings. And so we're talking about our breads, our biscuits, cookies, pastries, and tortillas. So not anything with fillings can be utilized under the Cottage Food Law. Now, that's not saying you cannot create that, but now within our state, you're moving into the Department of Health, getting permitted by them. So again, I want to reiterate what I said. Under the Cottage Food Law, it cannot have fillings. But if that's something that you would like to do, it's just other regulations that you would have to abide by. Candy, chocolate-covered, non-perishable foods such as pretzels, nuts, and fruits. Then you have dried fruit, except for melons, dried pasta, dried spices, dried baking mixes, granola, cereal, and trail mixes, dry rubs, and fruit pies. Of course, we know jams and jellies and preserves, and that is under this particular federal regulation. Nut mixes, popcorn, vinegar and mustard, waffle cones, and acidified products that meets this particular code of federal regulations. Within our state, our acidified foods, we have to take a class and get certified in that. And again, I'm only speaking for Mississippi. I would love for you to do the research for your state, and you will have to do the research in your state to see the regulations for this particular law, if you have the Cottage Food Law, and if not, you will be working under maybe the Department of Health or the Department of Agriculture. So within Mississippi, we have to have certain things on our label. So the label must include all of the following: the name and address of the cottage food operation, the name of the cottage food product, the ingredients of the cottage food product in descending order of predominance of weight. That is very, very important. That is required for Mississippi farmers and producers. The net weight or volume of the cottage food product. Allergen information is specified by federal labeling requirements. If any nutritional claim is made, appropriate nutrition information is specified by federal requirements. And then the following statement has to be in 10-point type in a color that provides a clear background. So we have to make sure this is clear. So it has to say that it's made in a cottage food operation that's not subject to the Mississippi food regulations. So that's what we have to have. But again, please do your research for your particular state. Now, I wanted to define the allergen information that is specified in our law. You have to identify these in the ingredients. So, of course, milk, eggs, wheat, peanuts, soybeans, fish, shellfish, and tree nuts. Again, in our particular law, these have to be identified. Now, of course, you have FDA, USDA regulations, so you have to check all the ingredients you are using in your product. If your product needs testing, you make sure you do that with the proper authorities, and then verify the classification of your product. You want to make sure you have kept good records of all ingredients and your processes, because that's when, if you get health permits, USDA, FDA, they could call on that information at any time. Now, we're going to move into some of our farmers that I'm familiar with in our region that have done just what I'm just promoting for you to do as farmers. And this gentleman, this is a cane syrup. Again, this is grown on his farm, and he have created this particular product. And so again, we are not here to tell you what to produce. We want to share with you that you can produce it. So it's like whatever your heart content. Again, it may have to have different permits, but once you do the research, you'll realize what it takes to make your particular product. But we want you to at least try and do that research to see if it can be done. So that is one gentleman right there. This is a family that I've known for many, many years, and their one product is hibiscus. And now they have just created so many different products and still creating products just off hibiscus. So just a phenomenal wealth of information about hibiscus and how it affects our body and help us, but just phenomenal family. And it again this is mom and dad here, but their older sons are involved as well with this particular business. And so just one product, that's what they grow, is hibiscus, and then they went on into creating products from that. And this lady does Simply Natural is the name. And so she have put together various herbs to create basically a seasoning that you could place on your food during cooking or after. And so again, to the left is a picture showing her products, and this is the particular producer on the right. And again, name of her product is Simply Natural. So again, and you see she have a wealth of products. So I'm kind of focusing on the products on the top shelf, but she had many, many different types of herbal products, but done in the manner of culinary that you could use. And so that's another farmer I wanted to introduce you to. Here we have three particular producers, starting from the far left. This is kale chips. And so this lady, Vale Kale, they produce kale chips, and basically the difference of all of her bags is just the seasonings that she put on her kale chips. And in the middle, and as you can see, it's Connie's Preserves in the back. She have gotten so many awards for her jams and jellies and preserves. So please, please look these producers up as well to support them. And then the far right is the Sugar Shocker, and these are lip glosses and lipsticks that are made naturally. And then also at this, and this was a conference that I went to. At this particular conference, we also have wineries in some of our states, and this is in one of our states. This is in Georgia, but it's within our region. So the Tilford Winery and the Wild Creek Distillery. But this is something they wanted to do. And so again, whatever your heart content and whatever is on your land that you're growing, go for it, because you're going to have a consumer that's going to buy it. And so that is what we're here to share with you for as our NCAT staff, is that value-added products is just so important, definitely during these times right now where most of us that had value-added products and were selling, most of us was selling direct, some of us was online as well, but now we're totally online. And so just dealing with value-added products just open up another source of income for you, as well as other customers, because you're taking these raw products, and just putting them in some type of other form. And then at this time, any questions, as you have probably viewed on our flyer, I don't ever want these PowerPoint presentations to be long. I want to get to the point, and I hope I didn't move too fast through the slides, but I like to just get to the point, share our ideas with you, help motivate you to move into some of these type of expansions for your farm, and then definitely want to open up the questions so we can answer. That's what I love, to be able to answer your questions, specifically what is going on your farm and on your land that you need answered. So at this time, I will go over here and let's unmute everyone, and as you see fit, you can unmute yourself and you can start asking your questions at this time. I know it has to be some questions, because this is such a deep topic and it can go so many different ways for farmers. And what I mean by that is just the permits and the laws and the regulations and stuff. That's where it usually gets really, really difficult for some of our farmers. So I definitely, want to be here for those. And if I cannot answer it, we will definitely get our network involved in your particular area to assist you with your question.
I don't know if I can ask a question on the phone.
Yes, ma'am, you can. Yes, I can hear you.
You can.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to know if there were any technical or financial support in undertaking these ventures.
Yes, ma'am. And when you said ventures, you are speaking on creating a value-added product?
Value-added product, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So one of the things that I could tell you for is financial write-off. Out here for is our federal funds, it's called Value-Added Producer Grant. Value-Added Producer Grant. That is one that's specifically for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, we have it's somewhat difficult to write because it's a federal grant. But again, we have ourselves, our NCAT staff, as well as I see other specialists on here and experts that can help you with that if you choose to go that route with the Value Added Producer Grant. We also, and when I say we, our NCAT Gulf States Regional Office, we are also working with a grant writer for this particular grant. So the Value Added Producer Grant, we do have a grant writer, and of course you will be working with her one-on-one. So we will not be, in that conversation, but we definitely could connect you with her on writing that particular grant proposal for you to submit. Another opportunity financially is SARE, the Southern Agriculture Regional Education, SARE, SARE.org. But based upon where you are in the country, you could get your particular regional office and talk with them, but they have grant opportunities as well. And I definitely apologize today because I had a video that I wanted for you all to view. So again, if you would like to see this video, please contact me at Felicia, FELICIA, B as in boy, at NCAT.org, and I can direct that video to you. And it was a SARE grant that helped a farm move into value-added products. And so, yes, ma'am, with that assistance, and if I think of any more, I definitely will share that with you all. But those are the ones, and if we have any of the specialists and experts on this, please speak up if it's others that I am missing. but those are those that those are the few I can remember right now. And then could you state your second question to me again?
Technical support.
Yes, ma'am. So definitely you can work with us. Now, again, we are the Gulf States Regional Office, so we're dealing with Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia, and Florida, but we have other offices that possibly will take care of you in your particular state. So NCAT .org, you could definitely find us there and look at where your regional office is located, but then also your local sometimes your local people can assist you. Ask around, like your farmers market, when you see people that have created value-added products in your area, they can help you with those particular regulations and laws. So most likely it may just be another peer that can help you on your local level, and then of course your Department of Agriculture on the state level can assist you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Are there any other questions? And thank you so much for asking that question, because I know it can help others.
Well, I have another question then.
Oh,
I'm in
yes,
Alabama. Is there a local office here, like around Birmingham?
Birmingham. So I will tell you that we work with Alabama A&M, Alicia Cheveris. She would be a first person that I would think of that can just help guide you to finding the right people, if not them. So again, Alabama A&M University. And the young lady that we partner with is Alicia, Elicia Cheveris. And I hope I'm not messing her last name up, but Chaverest, I believe. But again, please, if you could either email me at FeliciaB@NCAT.org, or you could give me a call at 479-575-1386.
86.
Yes, ma'am. Again, it's 479-575-1386. And I will tell you that we all are working remotely, and so it will ring several times. Please do not hang up, because it is just being forwarded to my personal phone.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's great. Because we're dealing with the pandemic right now, is there a list of individuals who are already have undertaken this route and are successful in it that you can talk to or read about, or is there a source that you can go to other than A&M?
Yes, ma'am. So the first thing that I think of is local harvest. And I believe I can't think of the web address right now, but you can put that into a search engine, local harvest. A lot of those farms are listed on this particular website, and at the bottom, within their description, a lot of times it tells you if they have raw or value-added products. A lot of times the farmer themselves will list that. And a lot of the farms that I know that do value-added product are on there. And again, I just can't think of like a database or a hub that may have that. Only thing I could think of, it may be your Department of Agriculture, because they usually, have a database of what we're doing as farmers, so they can promote us and that sort. So like I said, local harvest, and then the second one I think I would give to you would be your state Department of Agriculture. Any other questions? I know one of the things I just wanted to share, I am an ag specialist for the Gulf States Regional Office, but of course I farm as well, and we do create value-added products as well. And it has been a journey. I have not been doing it very long, for a few years now. And really, my help came from just an elder mentor of mine, and to get me involved in doing value added products. But since I have started doing it, it has been such a joy to do. One, because I get to meet new people in just the farming realm, and me as an ag specialist, I'm only really talking to farmers and helping farmers. And so once I started doing these products, and we have already always done direct marketing, meaning face to face with our clients, it's just been phenomenal. So again, if anyone wants to reach out to me, I definitely don't mind sharing. I do herbal products, and so just, yeah, we don't mind sharing what we're doing here as well. So if you would like, you could reach out to me as well, and I'll do my best of doing research to see what other farmers in our region, in the states within our region, are doing these types of things as well. And I know there are doing it. That's why I say going to your local farmers market when we're able to do that. And even within this crisis, farmers markets, most, I think, in our states, for as our southeast states, are considered essential. And so if I'm, not speaking out of term, I think within the Gulf States regional area, we still could be, go to our farmers market. It's drive-through, mind you, but you still can get to partake of those farmers products and stuff. So we're very glad of that, because people still need that food. So just wanted to share that with you. We're here to assist you and, making this happen for yourself. It, again, it's work involved in learning the rules and regulations of creating a product. But again, it's phenomenal of the people that you will meet, and be able to talk your story, give your story on why you created these products, and the historical context of some of our products that we make. Because one of the products I make is just a phenomenal, from a tree that we have that is very, very old, and been here before me. And so just being able to give those stories is just what you could share with your your client, excuse me. And just, you get a good clientele, and it really becomes just a family, because they continue to purchase from you because they know where it's coming from, and they really are signing on to your farm values and stuff. So very, very nice to become that type of producer. So again, I'm gonna open it up for the last time, and we would love for you to join us next Wednesday for our next class. Again, it's always 2 o'clock Central Standard Time on Wednesdays, and we would love to have you for these weekly classes and stuff. So any other questions? So if not,
Well, I'm going to ask one more.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Does the ingredients, I don't mean ingredients, but the main product, does it have to come from your farm, or can it be, I don't want to say imported, but can it be grown by someone else or by another farm?
Yes, ma'am, it can. Because you just have to, you have to define that. So you cannot go out there and say that you grew it if you didn't grow it, so it's just making sure how you identify. But yes, ma'am, most of the products on the shelves today were not created by those labels. And so they had to have many vendors to bring in that product source. So yes, ma'am, you can source it, but you just could not identify yourself as growing that particular product if you're purchasing it from someone else. But it can be utilized within your product making as an ingredient. And if they're another small farmer, I always like to promote that farmer. If you're buying it from a small farmer, you know, that you definitely could help promote them as well as being an ingredient within your product. But yes, ma'am, you can source anywhere you choose, and just your expertise is what's creating a product as well, which is that our intellectual property, which we do have a class coming up on that as well. So just meaning that you have the recipe, you have the knowledge to create this value-added product, but you're having to source the ingredients. It's like I said, it's okay to do that. But just keeping in mind that it's not necessarily you're saying that you're growing it.
Well, I have very much enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it and hope you can join us for our next 2 Wednesday classes. We scheduled these all the way out to June, so hopefully we could go into the month of June with these classes. But we just appreciate everyone weekly coming and joining us for these classes. And the purpose of them is just to help our farmers pivot or expand during this time. So thanks again for joining us. We appreciate everyone, and we look to see you on next week.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Have a good day.